So we're back again. How are you? How you feeling today? You having an all right day so far? I hope so. Today I wanted to talk a little briefly about dealing with friends who have like medical issues or like medical stuff going on. You know, as we get older, these things happen, issues arise, problems arise, all that stuff. And sometimes it's not that big of a deal. Sometimes it's just kind of like, something that kind of happens and you just sort of have to deal with it. You roll with the punches and all that stuff. And other times, things arise that necessitate like a complete lifestyle change. And you know what I mean? And nothing like that is happening actively right now. But I have some friends who, over the past years and months and whatever, have developed, health issues. And, when you're someone's friend, obviously it goes without saying, but like you can't abandon them once their body starts to get all fucked up, to put it, poetically, you know what I mean? So you have to adapt. You have to kind of like change the way you guys hang out. You change your role in their life. You change their role in your life, you know what I mean? So like there's a lot to like, sort of like navigate and work on, and it's a really big test of your friendship. You learn a lot about yourself, and you learn a lot about like the people who you're friends with, when something happens, you know what I mean? It affects the whole friend group, so you and, the person who is maybe having the issue, your shit's going to change, right? But then also like the dynamic changes with all of your mutual friends and how you guys all react in relation to that person, but then each other as well. You know what I mean? And it's interesting, I guess. It's sort of in the front of my mind right now, but it's just something that like I never really thought of when I was younger. And now that these things are starting to happen with the homies, it's just like something that I'm being confronted with more. And I mean, you are too, right? Like you probably have a friend who's like developed some sort of thing, maybe they can't drink anymore, or, like that's like a big thing too. It's just like people go so hard in their 20s and early 30s and stuff. And then when we get to our mid 30s or late 30s, it's like, well, I can't drink anymore, or I have to do like a radical diet change because I'm super unhealthy, or God forbid, like, oh yeah, I was feeling like shit and went into the doctors and I found out I have X or Y or whatever, That's the real scary stuff, that happened to a very close buddy of mine, And so obviously I'm not a fucking doctor and I can't give you any medical advice, but I will say, I think I've said it before, like the older you get, like you kind of need to pay more attention to what's happening with your body and stuff. Obviously, like health insurance is a thing and medical costs is a thing. Like I'm not, this has nothing to do with like any type of like class analysis or anything like that, obviously. But I'm just saying, like, anecdotally, a buddy of mine was having like some pain and just it wasn't going away, and they went to the doctor and they found some cancer stuff, and they have been dealing with that for a while now. And it drastically affected their life, obviously, and the way that they hang out and the way that people interact with, like, everything changed pretty much on the what's it, drop of a hat, whatever. It happened like instantly, pretty much. It was like overnight. You know what I mean? And it's fucking scary, and it's humbling, and you really kind of, it was a hold your friends close moment, and these things are starting to happen more and more, and obviously, like, with my previous lifestyle of partying and stuff, I've had to deal with a lot of stuff related to like drugs and alcohol and just not being healthy. But then, there's like, outside of that arena, like it becomes more common when you get older. And most of the stuff that I've had to deal with is legit just people being like, I'm on a pretty serious diet and I'm not drinking and I'm going to the gym, and that means that like we can't go to the bars and we can't, play video games and we can't just like sit around and smoke weed or whatever. Like I have responsibilities now, and like that's one thing, and that's, can be a minefield depending on your relationship and stuff like that. Like, when the homies get sober, you got to deal with it, obviously. But when it's like a medical thing, when it's like, oh yeah, like, blah blah's like bedridden for a while, or they can't walk, or you know what I mean, like mobility issues, or just like general health thing, like being in the hospital, like it's a lot to deal with, and it fucking sucks. It's scary, it provides ample opportunities for anxiety to creep in, existential, stuff starts to happen. You really are faced with mortality and the fragility of your body and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, you know what I mean? Like, even if it's like not life threatening and it's just like an inconvenience for you, you know what I mean? If you have to get surgery on your bum knee and that means you're gonna, not be able to really walk for a while, or if you, have to get surgery like to fix your carpal tunnel and that means you can't do, like all that stuff is becoming more and more common with people, I'll say our age, assuming you're in your early 30s like I am. But yeah, it's wild. And then, the whole reason I bring this up is because like then you have to like adjust how you deal with that person, and it can be really tough. It can be really tough if you are in a support role in someone's life, and things start to go sideways a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, if you're like, if a very close friend, if a best friend, something like that, develops a medical issue that requires not constant attention, but you know what I mean? Just like help. You know what I mean? Like you kind of, they need help doing stuff, right? It becomes very tricky very quickly, depending on your relationship dynamic and who you guys are as people and your personality types and all that, because you can become resentful. They can, like act in ways that make you feel taken for granted. Like you can argue about like high stress situations obviously cause people to get stressed out, and then it really affects things in a negative way. And it takes a lot of effort to not do that. You know what I mean? And like, I'm not going to lie, like that shit definitely like happens to me. It happens to everyone I know, where obviously you want to help out your friend, you want to help out the homie, you want to do whatever you can, but you're only fucking human and you have your own life. You know what I mean? So you'll feel guilty for doing stuff for yourself as opposed to like helping people do stuff. And it just gets very complicated very quickly. And I'm sure that you've had to deal with this, and unfortunately, more than likely, you're going to have to deal with it a lot moving forward. And the older we get, the more serious these situations are going to become. You know what I mean? Like, we're staring down middle age for real. We're staring down, I don't know, like, we're getting to an age now where, like, people might start getting, real life shit, like, diagnoses and stuff happening, and it's fucking wild having to like deal with it. You know what I mean? Like, getting old is nuts, and dealing with the consequences of your youth is also nuts. You know what I mean? And there's always time to turn things around and be healthy, and there's obviously like economic barriers to how healthy you can be. I think we've brought this up. Well, I've talked about this before on the show, like the cost of being actually healthy, but you can do it for cheap. If you guys, there's a lot of effort that needs to go into it, but you can do it. But yeah, like, it's tough dealing with people who have issues sometimes, because you want to be there, but you can't get lost in the sauce. You have your own life and you need to deal with your own stuff too, and it's tough. It's very tough when people you care about aren't doing good in any respect, and you can feel helpless and powerless, and then your pride might come into play where, if you're putting in a lot of effort and they maybe don't see it, then you can get hurt. Or if they're having a really bad day and they turn that attitude towards you, then you can take it personal. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot of that stuff, and it sucks. It really sucks. And I don't know. it's something that I think about, you know, the older I get, the older my friends get, you know what I mean? It seems like every couple weeks, every couple months, I find out about someone having some new thing, you know. And sometimes it doesn't affect our relationship, and sometimes it there's no way that it couldn't. You know what I mean? But if you're a good friend and if you're, you know, put in the effort, then it's not really going to be that bad. It's just one more thing you kind of have to worry about. One more thing that sits in the back of your mind. You know what I mean? I hope that you haven't had to deal with it that much. I'm confident that if you do, you know, if you are, and if you do, when you inevitably will, rather, you'll handle it with grace and maturity, and you'll, you know, do the best you can and do the right things and all that stuff. And honestly, if not, if you fuck up, if things get fucked up, if things aren't chill and dope, it's fine. It's not your fault. And if it is your fault, just, you know, do better. Try to do better. That's all you can really do. It's been the past couple months, you know, not to get really off topic, I've been trying to really like be more reasonable with myself and not beat myself up a lot and not let the anxiety and like the guilt really take over. So like when I do fuck up, it's kind of like, okay, like I could mope, or I can kind of just like put in the effort to do better and be better. And I'm confident that you, dearest listener, if you are, you know, forced into a situation where you have to deal with someone who has a medical issue and maybe you don't act the best, there's always tomorrow, you know, hopefully. Yeah, and within that, like, there's room to improve and redeem and apologize and make things right and look past it. And honestly, like, hopefully, if you run into the situation and things get hard with a homie, hopefully your bond is strong enough to get over it once the medical issue is resolved or normalized. You know what I mean? Change is hard, but you'll be fine. But yeah, that's the episode. Thank you for tuning in. Andrew and I really do appreciate it. It means a lot that people listen to our silly little show. If you like the show, please like and subscribe. If you could give us a good review, like, it takes no time and really would help us, you know. No pressure, I guess, but a little bit of pressure. Like, it'd be fucking cool if you did. But yeah, you know, take care of yourself and the people around you, and don't forget to tell your friends you love them. I mean, that one really hits on this one, huh?